I thought he was my boyfriend. I thought my boyfriend was the one joining me in bed. It was my best friend's house party at a new place that he and his fiancée had moved into. It was a chill night where the drinks and smokes kept everyone high. My boyfriend was with me and I had a good chill session after a long time. I was planning to stay the night at their place before going back home. There were a couple of new people, but the rest were friends or people I knew but were not exactly close with. Tyler came and left with his girlfriend. Jack, my boyfriend's friend, also left. I asked my boyfriend to stay and he said he would. Feeling sleepy and too drunk and high, I followed my best friend, Robert, towards the guest bedroom and lay down on the bed. The party was coming to an end pretty early and I was looking forward to my boyfriend joining me in bed. What I didn't know was that my boyfriend had already left to go home. His friend, David, however, was too drunk to drive back. Robert managed to convince him to stay the night and took him to the guest room. What Robert had forgotten in his inhibited state was that I was already in that room. When the bed creaked beneath his weight, I smiled and reached for him. He came willingly into my touch. I don't know if he knew it was me that was in the bed, but I certainly didn't know it was him. Maybe he thought I had planned it or it was his lucky night. Either way, I felt his lips fall on my chin in the darkness that enveloped us. My head tilted to the side and our lips found each other's. I kissed him deeply. My hands held either side of his face while his body pressed into me. We shifted on the bed until his hips rested between my legs. If I was sober I would have realized how toned my boyfriend suddenly seemed, but having not been intimate with him in a rather long time, everything felt a little different but as good or even better than I remembered. My fingers slid up and down his back before wrapping around his neck to hold him close. Our tongues tangled together in an erotic dance, kissing passionately. I don't know how long we kissed. His hands sliding up and down my body coupled with the feel of his erection between my legs turned me on even more. My hands slid down his back and lower, slipping beneath his boxers to grab his ass. I squeezed his ass cheek and drew his hip down against mine. He groaned and broke the kiss, burying his face into the crook of my neck. "I need you," I gasped out. "Do you have a condom?" I breathed out. I watched him nod his head above me. "Get it," I said. I watched him move away from me and reach for his wallet. At the same time, I removed my top and panties before slipping beneath the covers once more. It was dark enough that all I could see was his silhouette and not his face, or else I would have realized that the man I was inviting to enter me was not my boyfriend. He pushed his boxers down and slipped the condom on. He moved back towards me. Our bodies shifted as quietly as we could under the covers. I felt his line up against my entrance. He kissed me deeply as he tried to slide his length in. It took a couple of tries before he finally managed it. My mouth parted before I bit down into his shoulder to muffle the moan that threatened to leave my lips. He groaned into my neck as he filled me up. "Oh fuck. You feel so good. You fill me up so well," I breathed next to his ear. He started to move, but I gripped his hips instead and shook my head. "No. No. Don't move. Stay inside me," I almost pleaded. It felt so good having him inside me. Throbbing. I had never felt so full before. My pulse and my walls clenched around his shaft eagerly. He remained still, letting me bask in the pleasure until I slowly started to move my hips. That was enough to trigger movement of his own. He moved slowly at first, then quicker, picking up the pace. The bed rocked beneath us and I panicked, thinking Robert and his fiancée could hear us. "Stop, stop. Go slower," I whispered frantically. He listened, his movements slowing down again. My fingers combed through his hair as he slid in and out of me. He angled his hips slightly and bent my knees a little. My mouth parted and I bit into his shoulder again to muffle my groans. He was hitting all the right spots. I was surprised by how quickly an orgasm was bubbling up inside me. I thought it was probably due to the joint I had been smoking throughout the night, as we'd always made me horny. I wrapped my arms around his neck and held him close. "Oh, fuck. I am going to come. Just like that. Just like that," I whispered encouragingly. He groaned and kept up his work. The bed squeaked lightly beneath us, but I was too distracted by the pleasure to care. My fingers combed through his hair and I held him close. My walls clenched tighter around his length as I convulsed. "I am Ming, baby." I whimpered. He held me close, continuing to pound into me even through my orgasm. I rode it out and was thankful that I didn't make too much noise, even as my body wanted to scream out the pleasure I was receiving. He kept going, sliding in and out of me. My body was exhausted, but I accepted each delicious thrust of his into me. I whimpered and moaned softly. He kissed me between thrusts, slowing down and then speeding up to make the bed squeak once more briefly before inevitably slowing down again. And he kept going. I never remembered the last time my boyfriend had that much energy. It was certainly the longest I had been in one position without moving or taking a break. And he kept at it. He grunted and groaned in my ear. Alternated between kissing my neck and finding my mouth. "I am so close," I finally heard him grunt into my ear. My nails scratched down his back. "For me, baby." He groaned at my words and picked up the pace again. This time he didn't slow down. He pistoned his length in and out of me repeatedly. It took all I had not to scream out and accept the pounding of a lifetime. I whimpered and buried my face into the crook of his neck. I felt his length throb, becoming impossibly bigger as it expanded. He buried himself inside me and grunted into my ear as he let go. I felt him filling up the condom, which triggered a second orgasm inside me. My hips bucked with his. By the time we came back down from the high, our breathing was heavy and erratic. His head tilted and caught my lips in a searing kiss. We lay there for a moment, just kissing and basking in the afterglow. I was the first to break the silence. "I need to use the washroom," I breathed out. He nodded and slowly slid out of me. I let out a sigh and got out of bed. I moved towards the attached bathroom. By the time I was out, I saw his silhouette lying down on the bed. Knowing he was drunk and exhausted, especially after the mini-marathon he just performed, I understood it.